Well, go figure. It's coming up to March here, and there's a lot of things people out there that are receiving Social Security benefits need to go ahead and make sure they get done before March. And so we're going to talk about the payments for for March coming up here, 2026. Also got a bunch of video questions people sent in. A lot of questions out there about retirement benefits, survivor benefits, disability benefits, Medicare. So I'm going to get to those individual questions. And one of those questions might be something that have a question about, or your friends or your family. So make sure you stick around. This is also a live Q&A. I've already got a bunch of questions up there. Someone said they called Social Security and they couldn't get an appointment for like more than a month, 5-6 weeks. But remember, protective filing. So if you wanted to start your benefits this month, but you're not able to get an appointment until next month or the month after, tell them at that time saying, hey, I called y'all 2 months ago. That's when I wanted my benefits to start. It's not my fault that Congress and Elon Musk and Doge decided to cut all your staffing and you didn't have anybody to pick up the phones. And I know it's not your fault either. They want to hire more people, but unfortunately, that's not in the cards. So let's talk about all that and any other questions you have. So in terms of the payment schedule, there's no strange things for March other than people receiving SSI, Supplemental Security Income, the welfare-based program. Everybody always confuses that. So when we start the live Q&A, SSI, if you're receiving SSI, that means the max you're receiving are $994. SSI is a welfare-based program Social Security administers. It means supplemental security income. It's not actually SSA. It doesn't come from the Social Security Trust Fund. It wasn't started by FDR in 1935 like Social Security. SSI was taken over, was given to Social Security in the early 1970s. It was a bunch of welfare programs throughout the country, and then Social Security took over. So SSI is supplemental security income. So if you ask a question during the live, it's important that I know which program you're actually receiving, and that way I can answer your question correctly. Okay, so but for SSI, there is a strange thing. There is no payment in March for SSI because the SSI people receive their checks on the 1st. You got your check February, you're going to get your check February 27th. So you're not going to get another check in March. That's what happens when the payday is on a holiday or a weekend or something like that. And this is also the time those crazy YouTubers and TikTokers and out there say, hey, you're going to get 2 checks this month. And no, are you going to get 2 checks this month? Click here to find out. And it's all pretty much BS. It just people got their check on the 1st of that month. And then because the following month, the 1st falls on a holiday or a weekend, then they get their check a day or 2 early. So we got a bunch of YouTubers out there that say, hey, are you eligible for 2 checks? Millions of people are going to receive 2 checks next month. And it's even worse now because we got a bunch of AI slop coming out there, and hopefully YouTube and all these platforms start doing something and shutting down these things that are giving out incorrect information. So we're going to have to deal with it a little bit longer, unfortunately. Okay, another thing that's happening out there is a lot of people are receiving overpayment letters. If you worked last year and your benefits were withheld because you earned over the annual earnings limit, what happens, a lot of people don't realize, is Social Security continues that on. So if you made $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 over the annual earnings limit last year, again, you have to, under your full retirement age, then they're going to assume you're going to do the same this year. And you're like, but I'm not. Well, Social Security doesn't know until you call them up and say, hey, you file what's called a work report. And you say, hey, this year, I'm not going to work over that annual earnings limit, or it's my full retirement age year anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you don't get your check stopped. So there's a lot of people that are already contacting me and saying, hey, Ed, I didn't get my check this month. What's going on? Did you work last year? Was your benefits withheld last year for a month or 2 months or 3 months? Yeah. Well, there you go. You have to call and file a work report and saying, situation's changed. I stopped that job. I cut my hours, or whatever the case may be. So we want to make sure you don't miss your checks. Another thing that's happening in March is it's going to be March 31st is the end of the open enrollment period. So if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, Part D plan, if you want to price your Medigap, your Medicare supplement plan, you can do that any time of the year anyway. See if you can save some money there. But a Medicare Advantage plan, if you forgot to check your Medicare Advantage plan or situation have changed, or you wonder if you picked the right plan, whether the person that helped you out, was looking out for you or them by steering you to a plan that they make more money on. So if you're questioning that, now's the time to do it up until March 31st. It's called the open enrollment period. You can switch your Medicare Advantage plan one time during January, February, and March under that special enrollment period. Open enrollment period is technically what they call it. So you can reach out to Chapter there and they can help you out and see if there's something better for your particular situation. Just be prepared, have all your 7 Ps available, your current plan, who you want to keep in terms of your providers, your prescriptions, the milligrams, dosage, all that kind of stuff. If you want to keep a particular pharmacy, your priorities need more, dental, more vision, check the prices. People get price shock and they're like, wait a second, they only charged me, $30 last year for that specialist, and now they're charging me $50. Well, yeah, that was last year's plan. That's gone. Now you're in a new plan. You might have the same card, the same company, but the plans change. All Medicare Advantage plans are only good for 1 year, period. They might renew, but the engine under the hood just might be completely different. So prices are important, and you need to stay up on these companies, persistence to stay up on these companies and make sure you're getting everything you are entitled to, everything you paid for all of those decades. So, all right, we've got, let's see, let's get into some live Q&A, and then I am going to get into some video questions. Got a lot of video questions today. My wife is staying 30 days in the States to continue her spousal support. If she stays 3 weeks more, will that affect her April payment? Okay. So she is a non-citizen. She has a green card and she's from a particular country. So on my website, it really depends on the particular situation. So she's eligible for benefits. She's a U.S. citizen, doesn't matter. But if she's not a U.S. citizen, then there are issues depending on what country she's a citizen of. There's the Social Security Administration has what's called these totalization agreements with some countries where we recognize their Social Security, they recognize our Social Security. So anyway, but you can go onto my website, it's mygovexpert.com. Let me take that off there so you can see it, mygovexpert.com. You click on Living Overseas, and it takes you to a payments abroad. So it says living overseas with Social Security benefits. So it's living overseas or people coming in your particular situation, eligibility for non-citizens. So if you have a green card, you're in the country legally, allowed to work and all that kind of stuff, then, if you're not in this country legally, if you don't have a Social Security number, if all that kind of stuff, people that are not in the country legally don't receive Social Security benefits. So politicians stop saying that. Anyway, you can click on the little link there. It says Payments Abroad Screening Tool. And this is kind of what you're looking at. You need to find out, she's coming back, but this also explains all that with the particular. So she puts if she's a non-U.S. citizen and receives yes, and then it asks what country, and it goes by whatever country has the totalization. So definitely check that out. It's specific to each particular person, each particular country, actually, and that person's status in the United States. Okay, we've got tons of video questions. Hopefully one of these questions will answer a bunch of questions that people have out there. So let's start off.
Hello, Dr. Ed. My husband is 59 and plans on working another 3 to 5 years. We're both retired from the military, but my husband continued as a federal service employee while I stayed home to manage the household. For retirement planning purposes, we both have enough earned credits for Social Security, but we are trying to understand if I would qualify for his higher retirement benefit. How do I read our Social Security statement to figure out what our primary insurance amount currently sits to see if I have less than 50% of his PIA? Thanks.
All right, she's using the special codes there, the PIA, which is a beautiful thing. We had Jay on here. He had just retired from the Social Security Administration a couple of months ago. I retired a couple, 3 years ago now. And he said, since I've been doing these videos, people have been showing up to the Social Security Administration and saying PIA and MBA and IEDS, and Social Security employees are just like, where are you learning all this insider knowledge from? And they're like, Dr. Ed. So it's a beautiful thing. It's sad that you have to do that. Social Security employees, there's supposed to be enough of them there to help you navigate all this, but unfortunately it's not happening. And so that's why this channel exists. All right. So PIA, primary insurance amount, is what she's looking for in order to determine whether you're eligible for benefits on another person's record. Then your benefit, spouse record, divorce spouse record, independently entitled divorce spouse benefit, is your full benefit amount, that's what's called the PIA, the primary insurance amount. That's your full benefit amount if you had waited till your full retirement age. So your full benefit amount, your PIA, has to be less than half of your spouse's or divorced spouse's benefit amount. And how do you find that? When you look under the Social Security, SSA.gov, you set up a My Social Security account. Good for doing that. It protects you. It's good to watch out, make sure everything is good in there. But it doesn't say specifically PIA. Hopefully they start adding that in there because people now know what a PIA is. It just says, here's how much you would receive at your full retirement age. That's pretty much it. So your PIA it says in the My Social Security account you get online, here's how much you would receive at your full retirement age. That's your PIA. So a lot of people are making mistakes. This particular lady knows that you don't look at the benefit amount. You don't look at the check. That's called the MBA, that's called the monthly benefit amount. You don't look at that amount to determine whether your benefit amount is less than half of theirs. You look at the PIA, the full benefit amount. And there's too many people out there losing benefits because they look at the wrong amount. So just go into My Social Security, look at your PIA, your full benefit amount, what you would receive at your full retirement age. Look at your husband's, how much it says they would receive at their full retirement age. And if it gets kind of close-ish, because remember, on the Social Security statement, those are estimates. The closer you get to your full retirement age, the more accurate they are. But if it's close-ish, then I would definitely call Social Security with both of you there and say, hey, how much is my PIA? And hand the phone to him and he asks, how much is my PIA? And here's the thing, even if it's $1, you're like, oh, I can get $1, forget about it. No, I would do it. Why? Because it's $1 and it's your dollar, number one. Number two, if you're on somebody's record, Social Security calls it the MBR, the master beneficiary record. If you or he, whoever's the higher benefit amount, let's say it's yours, if you are on his record, even receiving $1, if anything happens to him, then if you're your full retirement age at that time, it's automatically converted to surviving spouse benefits. So in that terrible time, which we all have that terrible time in the future, we're all going to have that time when something happens, you don't have to deal with the bureaucracy. Your benefits go from 50%, you get that dollar, to 100% as a surviving spouse, as long as you're over your full retirement age. If you're under your full retirement age, you have the choice to wait, and so they don't automatically convert it. It's called auto convert. They don't automatically convert it. They reach out to you and say, do you want to switch to Survivor? It's going to be reduced a little bit because you're not your full retirement age, but do you want to? If not, and then we'll hold it until you reach your full retirement age. So you have those options. So great for, recognizing that. All right, another question.
Hey, Dr. Ed, this is Paul from Alabama. My question is, if I retire early, does my pension count toward the $24,480 maximum for the year that I can earn?
That's an easy one. No, it does not. So when you retire, let me pull up my handy dandy little chart here about, that's the one on, this is a live Q&A. So if you're watching this and recording, this was recorded on a live Q&A. Anyway, so for when you're under your full retirement age, for this year, it's $24,480. Anything over that, Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over until you hit your full retirement age. That year, it all changes. What counts is wages. Bonuses, commissions. What doesn't count, I got on the bottom left here, pensions, investments, interest, your Social Security check itself, that doesn't count. So it's only punching that clock or having net income from a business. So that's an easy one. Your pension does not count against the annual earnings limit for Social Security. All right, let's get some live Q&A questions here. My husband passed away in 2005. He was 55. I'm 60 years old and currently on SSDI and survivor benefits. Does his full retirement age affect how much I get each month in survivor benefits? No, no. His PIA, the benefit he would have received at his full retirement age, that's the number they go off of for your survivor benefits. But thank you, Colleen, because what you're proving there is you're smart. You understood that you can get SSDI and survivor benefits. You can get SSDI and spouse benefits. You can get SSDI and divorce spouse benefits, SSI and or SSDI and SSI and MSP and LIS. And I did a video yesterday, day before yesterday, on stacking all the benefits you can get. Yeah, so a lot of people missing pieces of the puzzle, but it sounds like you're doing it. Why some people that are receiving SSDI, which is Social Security Disability Insurance, why they don't go out and get other money they're eligible for, like survivor benefits or spouse benefits or divorce spouse benefits, because they think, oh, I'm 60 years old, and if I switch to survivor benefits, sure, I get more money, but then I lose my Medicare because I'm not 65, and because I'll be getting rid of my disability and going to survivor benefits. That ain't true. Colleen proves it. She is getting SSDI. So let's say she's getting $1,000 a month from SSDI. And then she was eligible for another $500 from survivor benefits. So she's getting her $1,000 plus $500 from survivor. So her survivor benefits was $1,500. That's how that works. You get $1,500, but you get your first, so $1,000, and that offsets what you receive. So $1,000 from yours, $500 from that person. But see, Colleen has SSDI underneath that. And because she has SSDI underneath that, then that means if she's been receiving SSDI for 2 years, 24 months, she already has Medicare, even though she's not 65 years old. So you could be 55, 45, 35 years old and have Medicare. And you're like, how can someone have Medicare? They're not 65, because they've been on Social Security Disability Benefits for 2 years. So thank you, Colleen, for being the example to show. Hopefully there's a whole bunch of other people out there that reach out to Social Security and say, wait a second, I'm 60 and I was married to someone when they passed away. Marriage-wise, if it was a divorce type situation, you had to be married to that person for 10 years. If you were married to the person when they passed away, you just had to be married 9 months. There's a couple of exceptions in there, but yeah. So you're going to continue to get survivor benefits forever. Your SSDI, remember, will stop when you hit your full retirement age. It won't stop. It'll just switch. Once you hit your full retirement age, you will no longer receive SSDI. You'll receive the exact same check. It'll be retirement. So at that time, once you hit your full retirement age, no more CDRs, those continuing disability reviews. Don't worry about getting kicked off of disability because you're not receiving disability. You're receiving regular retirement. So no work limitations, no reviews. You're good. Go on with your life. Enjoy your life and go out there and try to find someone that you can teach that, oh, you're receiving disability benefits, you can get more money, and it doesn't stop your disability, and it, doesn't stop your Medicare. So I'm sure you can find someone out there that you can help out.